This woman is definitely promoting the Pravritti mark. And the Puranjana, he's naturally very attracted to this beautiful woman. So here, presenting the case why Puranjana should get married. It's good materially. Even at the end of the household life, one can get elevation to higher planets by performing sacrifice, or one can even achieve liberation. Good for the forefathers, as we read today. Actually, householder life, even Grihamedhi life, is better than the things which are going on today, where people don't take any responsibility and they just have casual relationships going from one person to the next. In this way, it's not possible to have a world develop or improve itself. The real point is, Prabhupada, he describes in many places, there's two types of householder. There's the Grihamedhi and there's the grihastha. Grihamedhi is where the sex life is the focal point, and the sexual attraction is the main purpose of the household life. When that happens, then of course that's why there's so many divorces going on, because it's very hard to maintain that type of relationship for a long period of time. People are very restless, especially in the modern day. Previously, even the Grihamedhis would stay together for their whole life, but now it seems exceedingly difficult for them. The grihastha householder is working at a higher level, where they actually have their plan how to go through the material activities together, how to raise the children and have the family together, and how to serve Krishna together. How to please Guru and Krishna. So, in that way, if one is regulated in their family life, then Prabhupada said they are all to be considered grihastha brahmacharis. They're also a kind of brahmachari, because they're also practicing celibacy by regulating themselves. So this is a very important thing to understand, because in this day and age, most of the people around the world certainly not going to be able to practice the strict form of sannyas and brahmachari for their whole life. Only certain rare individuals are able to maintain that vow, especially in the Western world, where the mixing between the opposite sexes is so common that it's very difficult to maintain oneself in a renounced order. Even stalwarts on the spiritual path in a modern ISKCON have suffered from this problem. So ISKCON today, the biggest topic which is on our agenda is the importance of the family. We've been concentrating a lot on brahmacharis and sannyasis all these years, and we haven't given enough focus on the importance of the householders and the family. So here in Mayapur we do have a large number of brahmacharis, and they're going to have to tolerate that in the next year or so. There's going to be a lot of discussion about grihastha ashram amongst the leaders, because everybody is very concerned about the future, which is mainly around the world. The vast majority of devotees are householders. How to see that their children in the future can become good devotees. Some of them can also become brahmacharis, at least for some time, and so on. And how that we can actually have a society where everybody is able to develop fully up to their potential Krishna consciousness. So we hadn't been concentrating an awful lot on the householder ashram. I don't know if we've been concentrating in any ashram really, but the householders feel they haven't gotten the attention, and so that's going to be the focus for the next GBC meeting, in fact, to a large degree. and maybe for some time to come. The idea is that just as a king or a kshatriya is to protect, so in the society we don't have any kshatriyas. I mean, in our general human society today, it's a democracy or democracy, and so people generally don't get too much protection. Whatever protection is afforded through the laws and then the police, but there's so much corruption in many parts of the world that one doesn't get always really that kind of protection. And this sifts down to the whole society. Right. Bhaktivinoda Thakur said we should do things that come naturally to us in the beginning. The Nectar Devotion explains how in our conditioned state, our connection with Krishna is, or in the beginning of our spiritual life, our Krishna consciousness, the connection is through the devotional service. And in the liberated state, it's through our direct relationship with Krishna in accordance to our rasa.